Is it clear, your message and your service through your website? Do you have email marketing in place? How are you doing that? Are you leading people from the online space to your live workshops? How are you doing that? Are you investing in? Do you have social proof? Do you have any? And I was kind of looking what he had in place, and all of those questions kind of sold the idea that I knew so much more than him.
This is The Fighting Entrepreneur, the podcast dedicated to entrepreneurs looking to change the world. Learn how to start, build, and scale a business in today's highly competitive business environment. Here's your host, The Fighting Entrepreneur, Anik Singal.
What's up, you crazy fighting entrepreneurs? This is your favorite person in the world, Anik Singal, back with yet another episode. I'm excited about today's because not only am I getting to interview an absolutely amazing entrepreneur, but she got her start at Lurn. I've had the honor of watching her entrepreneurial career blossom. She's been giving back to the community. She's helping our other Lurn students kick butt. We'll talk a little bit about that. And to have her on the other side of this table, to be able to then talk to her about all the amazing things she's doing is just going to be freaking awesome. So remember, go to anikpodcast.com if you want to get show notes. And I'm telling you, if you're watching this on YouTube, you got to leave comments below. You're going to be blown away. The topic today is building a funnel agency in another country. Now, let me just explain what I meant there. I didn't want to say in a foreign country because that sounds kind of weird. But basically what I'm trying to say is how to build a funnel agency or how to build an agency or how to build a business in a country outside of the top 5 we're used to, right? US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and UK. There is another world out there, ladies and gentlemen. You can build businesses there. And our guest today, Krystel Romero, is showing us exactly how to do that. She's been doing it and she's kicking butt at it, and she lives and builds her business from Colombia. All right. So this is awesome. Krystel, thank you so much for being here. You are awesome. I cannot wait to hear your whole story.
Well, thank you, Anik, for having me on the show. I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me in.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, it's great quality video. I think this is probably the best quality video we've had from any of our guests. So I guess the internet is not a problem, but I will tell a funny story. Right before we got started to record this, Krystel messaged me. She's like, my electricity just went off, so I need 10 minutes. And that reminded me, this kind of stuff happens in countries outside of your common top. How often does that happen for you?
Well, not that often, but I do get, no internet from time to time. And sometimes I just have to go to, a local cafe and find internet connection. So yes, a little bit of resourcefulness is
Look
required.
at that. And yeah, there you go. Resourcefulness, solution-minded. I think a lot of us that live in the United States or, or a similar country, we take things for granted, like the internet, which never seems to go down. But yet you're still killing it. You're doing so well. I kind of want to just tell your story for you, but I'm not going to do that. So before I start doing that, Krystel, you know what we do here at The Fighting Entrepreneur. I need you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Krystel Romero.
I, Krystel Romero.
Do solemnly swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Do solemnly swear to tell the truth, but nothing but the truth.
But nothing but the truth. And reveal all my secrets of building a funnel agency.
And reveal all my secrets in building a funnel agency.
That's awesome. All right, now that we got that out of the way, I want to move into this part because it's probably my favorite part with you, and that is round number 1. Let's talk about your story. All right, so Krystel, one thing about The Fighting Entrepreneur, we rarely do story, and I think all of my interviews thus far, I've never done story. Yours, we got to do story because your story is just so amazing from where you were, I guess, a year and a half ago, not that long ago in entrepreneurial days. That's like yesterday. Tell your story. Where were you? How'd you get here? How'd you find yourself on the Fighting Entrepreneur podcast?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting story. So I used to be a full-time employee. That used to be my life. I had one child, and when I got pregnant with my second child, I decided I didn't want to live my life that way again. I wanted to be a present mom. I wanted to have decisions. I wanted to have the freedom to be a mom and to do something that mattered to me as well. So I decided to quit my job with no other plan than to find out what else could I do? But I had no plans. So that's when I found Lurn. I found you, Anik, on a webinar. And I just got into the program. At the time, it was Inbox Blueprint. And I built the business. I did all of that. I started earning some money, but still not enough to get myself going, not enough to support my kids, because at the time when I built that first funnel, I had just given birth to my baby girl, which she was 2 months old. So I was struggling financially. It was very hard for me at the time, not much sleep. Then I got an invitation to go to Maryland and be with you and be with all the coaches there. And I said, like, yes, I'm not going back to my life. I will do whatever it takes to continue on this path and figure something different. I need to be able to support my family and take care of them at the same time without neglecting not my finances, not myself, as a woman, and not my kids. So I wanted to find that balance. I went all my hopes and dreams put into that one workshop. And ever since I went to that workshop, everything has changed dramatically for me. I've been able to build relationships, be in a community that's supportive, being able to connect with other people that have supported me in moving forward in my path. I've built different businesses since then. And one of the things that started happening to me was that as I built those businesses and as I got social proof, I built my social following to 150,000 followers on Facebook within the first 6 months. So people started to notice here, people that I've met, people that I knew before, and they started to notice that I was kind of into, like, what are you doing? No, you're not working. You're working from home. They saw videos and they started asking. So I connected with a few of them, and I started giving them some advice, applying everything that I knew and that I've learned with Lurn. Everything that I knew from there, I saw that it was, people were not doing it here in Colombia. And I was like, why are you not having a funnel? Why do you not have a website? Like, people think online business is about having a fan page on Facebook and doing Facebook Lives. That is what digital marketing means. I was like, why don't you have a funnel? What, are you doing this? Are you doing that? And I have very basic knowledge. Like, I'm not like super advanced, not when I started out. And, but it was more than enough and more advanced than most people, understand online marketing so far. So I got my first client around April last year. It was a $5,000 client. I got to coach him. He's a coach in the finances space. And that's how I started, just applying everything that I've learned and bringing it here to Colombia. Here there is so much ignorance around the topic. They don't understand. No one understands, but there's so much potential because everyone, and I found people from Colombia, from Panama, from Costa Rica, from Venezuela, from Ecuador, going to places like Lurn to learn how to do a business online. People are going, to workshops in the US, and because they don't have someone here that is able to teach and bring all that knowledge here and build online businesses the right way. So, as I'm not that super advanced because, like you said, I started like 2 years ago, and but it's more than enough to get a business started. It's more than enough to get those funnels up and running, to build an evergreen funnel, if you will, like different types of funnels depending on the case. And that's how I started. I started applying all of that, and it's kind of flowing towards that route for me. I found amazing opportunity bringing all that knowledge here. That's pretty much how I started here, and I think that's what brought me and open up the opportunity to be in the fighting entrepreneur, I guess.
That's so amazing because it's not like you came. So by the way, if anyone's wondering, the workshop she's referring to is called Lurn Masters. And it's one of the programs that we run here 4 times a year. And it's just changing lives left, right. And it's always, Krystel, I think you'll agree, it's always hard to explain what it is. You just have to come. Like, you have to experience it. And at the end of the 5 days, you'll know what it is. But even you won't be able to explain what it is. It's just one of those things.
It is. Yeah, it is life-changing. For me, it's like it is a beginning of a new phase in my life. Absolutely.
That's so amazing. And but it's not like you went home to Colombia when you finish the workshop saying, okay, that's it. You know what? I'm going to build a funnel agency. I'm going to like help local entrepreneurs in Colombia. You fell into it. And I don't believe in that. Like, I don't believe falling into anything. I think you were destined for that because everything you did started leading towards that, right? You started building your Facebook page up, and then you started putting you started putting yourself out there, which so many entrepreneurs are so scared of doing, but you just went at it. You put yourself out there and people notice, and then people ask questions. And people always ask me like, Anik, how can I sell better? And I think one of the things that I've picked up on that I've taught a lot is how you sell by letting others ask you questions, because when they ask you questions, they're selling themselves. So for example, I'll ask you this. In April 2018, when you got your first $5,000 client, how hard was that? Did you have to pitch them really hard, make a PowerPoint presentation?
Nothing. He was actually trying to get an appointment with me for about 2 months.
Oh, look at that.
But I was doing my thing in the, with my website and in the US and in English and everything. And I was like, I don't know. I was in that place where I was not kind of embracing the opportunity yet. I didn't understand it yet. So he was trying to get an appointment with me because he had invested a lot of money. But by the time he got an appointment with me, he had already invested about $80,000 into learning and implementing a few things he had in the online world for him, which didn't work at all. So he was desperate. He was paying a lot of money to this web developer that had his website a complete mess. Like it was not good. And he saw what I was doing. He wanted to get on a, just kind of talk. He invited me to a coffee. And then he said, why don't you go to my office? And, I would want to see, if we're going to be able to work together, maybe get some kind of mentorship from you. And I was like, okay, yes. So I went there and I started asking the basic questions that I knew of at the time. So, okay, so show me your website. So how are you getting people's information? Is it clear your message and your service through your website? Do you have email marketing in place? How are you doing that? Are you leading people from the online space to your live workshops? How are you doing that? Are you investing do you have social proof? Do you have any, are you doing anything in social media? And I was kind of looking what he had in place, and all of those questions kind of sold the idea that I knew so much more than him. That I knew so much more than the people he was who was paying, for their services in the web development part. And I was yes, we need to change this. You need to have this, and this is how it would look like. And I kind of started explaining, and then he was like completely sold. And he said, okay, so when do we start working? And I was like, I can do it next week.
So Krystel,
okay.
Hold on. You sound so confident right now, but when you went into that meeting, were you that confident? Like you knew exactly what questions you're going to ask, or were you just kind of rolling with the punches?
Well, I was asking the questions that I already knew how to do. Like I already had a website back then. Okay. I already had an opt-in page. I had a simple funnel. I was doing email marketing. And I was about to launch like a tiny product. So I had a written sales letter. I had done like a few pieces of a very simple funnel. And I had done a little bit of social media. So I didn't know that much, but I knew, those things needed to be in place. So I just asked those questions from the basic level. So it's not that I was super expert, but I knew a little bit more than he did. And for me, that's good enough to get started.
So I love that. I want everyone listening to this to just hear from Krystel, right? Like that last line she said, I knew just enough to get started. And that right there. So Krystel, I can say, having worked with you for so long, I think that defines you. Like that mentality, that way of thinking, that's how Krystel acts. Like I've seen her, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the things I've seen her do where the odds were actually against her. And this she's never even heard me talk about. But because she always just knows enough to get started. And that's all that matters to her. And then she figures it out as she goes. So she walks into this client or potential client, and I bet in her mind, and Krystel, you can correct me if I'm wrong, even if you didn't sell him that day and he didn't buy, you probably couldn't have cared less. You probably would have moved on your merry way on to the next one. You weren't attached to the idea, so that allowed you to be in this place of service and just be good. And in the meantime, the guy's like, okay, stop talking. When do we start? And that's the best kind of sale. And that's just so awesome. So for all of you who are looking to get started, you're sitting there, you're trying to make your business plan, your financials, you're this, you're that, you're preparing, you're learning, and you're convincing yourself that you have to go through all this education just to be able to make your first pitch. And I got to tell you, the best entrepreneurs, the biggest stories, the most successful entrepreneurs start just exactly like Krystel just started. They're like, one day they're just sitting there, an opportunity pops up. They're like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then boom, one thing after another, one thing after another. I do want to tell this side of Krystel's story that she hasn't told yet. And that is that, when was it, Krystel, that you joined our advisory team for a short period?
So I started setting calls about August 2017 and officially, closing December 2017.
December 2017. Okay, so I want you guys to understand, we have a sales team here at Lurn. And so initially, Krystel came on to help us set calls, which was just pre-qualify, make sure someone's actually right to talk to someone on our sales team. And then eventually we gave her the opportunity, like, hey, do you want to be on the sales team? Now, the thing is, in hindsight, if you go back and look at her kind of some behavioral indexes, something called culture index that we did together, she should not be on the phone selling stuff. Like, it's just not the right thing for her. But anyways, it's Krystel, like, go for it. And she comes out and just starts swinging, like crushing everyone's numbers. And it was so inspiring to watch, right? Because, and you could tell, like, she even shared a couple of times. She's like, I don't really like doing this. It's, and I'm looking at her, I'm like, I don't blame you. Like, it wouldn't be your thing. But she's doing what needs to get done. And she learned a skill, and I was taking that skill and is helping other people. But here's a person that just, I can tell you from personal experience, she just has no excuses. I don't think I've ever heard you ever give an excuse, Krystel, like ever. And it's just awesome, and it's inspiring. And I hope everyone listening now, we're going to talk to Krystel about what the services are, how she does all of it. But if nothing else from this episode, please take away the fact that stop planning, stop preparing, just start doing and ask some questions like Krystel did. Just put yourself out there, and all of a sudden you'll close. So Krystel, we'll jump before we move into like round 2. How much are you making like right now? Like on a, I know it probably goes up and down. It's a client business, but like across the board average per month, what are you earning?
So above, across the board in average, it would be between 4,000 to 6,000 a month here in Colombia, which is way more than I used to make as an employee.
I was just going to say, what's the average salary of someone in Colombia?
Well, the average, I was above average. So the average could be around 1,000 a month.
There you go.
1,500. Well, remember, we're in South America, so all the people who are not from, U.S. or top tier 1 countries will understand me. So 1,500 more or less for a professional and a very experienced professional. I was making around maybe 2,200 when I was as an employee.
Wow. So even when you were making above average, doing well, you are now making some months 3 times that. And the biggest part is, correct me if I'm wrong, but you get to be with your kids now, and you get to dictate your own schedule and your own time.
Yes. So for me, and you touch a very important point. Yeah, for me at the beginning, it was getting to a point where I can sustain myself and my kids financially. Like I can take care of them, because I was in a very bad situation when I quit my job, which I do not recommend anyone doing what I did. I got myself into a financial situation where I could not even buy diapers. It was very bad. Sometimes I would skip meals because I didn't have enough food. I was trying to build an online business, and I would get my internet bill disconnected, like the service. It was very hard. Like it was that way, like for 3 or 4 months until I got myself going. But so for me, the first goal was, okay, I need to replace my income so I can take care of my kids. That was the first thing. Now, of course, I want to be able to grow beyond that, right? But it also, my main goal out of making that decision of quitting my job was to be able to be with my kids, to be a present mom, to being able to go with them to the hospital without asking permission, to take off a week if I need to when they're on vacation, and I don't have to ask anyone, should I do this? Can I do this? Do I have to compensate for it? I don't have to do any of that. I manage my own schedule. I'm with my kids. I take my own decisions on a daily basis. Now, does that mean that I only am a mom? No, I also run a business. That's one of the things that I find very valuable and important for people to know. It's not about just kind of chilling out and not doing anything else. It's about having a balance in everything and pay attention to matters to you the most. So for me, one of the biggest gifts and rewards that I've been able to have out of making that decision and starting in the online marketing world is to being able to make my own decisions. Having that time and freedom to be with my kids when they are with me and when I want to be with them too. So yes, 100%.
That's true freedom. That's the true definition of freedom, right? To be able to, and not to mention, you come to the U.S. like 4 to 5 times a year. I think this year will be 5 times. Every time it's here, I'm like, how do you do this? So, but that's the freedom that you have. You can, do what you want when you want. And every time she's here, she changes lives. A very close, dear friend of mine who Krystel smacked over the forehead recently and got him to wake up. And I was at one of our last Masters events. And it's little things like that. So Krystel, that's amazing. Congratulations. Seriously, I don't get to say this enough to you, but absolutely congratulations on all of what you're doing. And I know you're still just scratching the surface because there's just so much more to be done. All right. Again, like I said, we don't do story a lot in Finding Entrepreneur, but this one I knew you needed to hear. For all of you out there who are not moving ahead, let Krystel give you a proverbial kick in the butt right now, because her story does exactly that. Krystel, let's move into round number 2. All right, so round number 2, what I want to do is I actually want to talk about funnels. So you talked about funnels. When we were doing our pre-interview for this, you mentioned something interesting where you said, God, I just really prefer to work with existing business owners and, not new ones that are just trying to establish themselves. So that was, I didn't ask you enough about it on the pre-interview because I wanted to talk about it here, but tell me a little bit about that, because a lot of people are out there right now trying to start an agency. What did you mean by that? Like, you'd rather work with existing business owners than people that are looking to start a business?
Yeah, so it's all about mindset, and it affects everything in the strategy. Everything that you're trying to work with them, it will affect everything. So established business owners, they're used to selling. That's the first thing. So they're not afraid of talking to people. They're not afraid to taking action. So you tell them, we need to record this, and this is the script, and I need this by this moment, and they will just do it. There's no, what if and there's no kind of conversation around it. They're just action takers. That is one of the things. The second thing, when you're building a business and you're building an online business, yes, compared to kind of brick or mortar type of business, it is going to be less expensive at the start, so to speak. Yes, you don't have to, buy inventory. You don't have to do all of those things, but you do have to invest, right? So I need tools. I need hosting. I need every webinar. Like, I need a lot of things to be in place to being able to, and I need traffic too. So I need investment in traffic. So with an established business owner, you just, tell them, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we need, and these are the steps, and these are the tools that we need, and there's no questions asked. You just do it. With a new entrepreneur, trying to establish a business, all of that is a conversation. All of that is, can we do it for free? Is there a different tool? Can we do it later? Is it really necessary? And it's all those conversations that hold them back for everything. If it's to record a video, oh no, I'm not used to doing videos. There's no insecure. They have, situations around money that does not allow them to move forward with investments and really taking that business off the ground. They have other priorities as well. So time management is an issue. Yeah, so I don't really like to work with kind of startup entrepreneurs that do not have current businesses, that do not have current clients. And the other thing is that when you do have a client list, like most of my clients are people who are trainers or coaches who already have a business. They already delivering training. They're already doing retreats, or they're doing seminars. So we already have a database of clients. And we can upload that, and we can do so much more with existing databases, with what pitches that they already have that I can use to build a webinar or build a BSL or whatever. There's so many resources, and that make the process easier, faster, more effective, less expensive, and they have no excuses. They just go for it. So I love working with those type of people, because I've tried working and helping people who are not coaches, who are not trainings, and who are not established business owners. And what I can do in a month with established business owners, take me like 6 months to get the other person to that place. I've tried it in the past, and yeah, I don't enjoy it too much, especially because I kind of do consulting. I like the one-on-one interaction. I like diving into the business of that person, not just giving general advice, but actually kind of tailoring down a strategy that's specific to that person. So when it's someone that's not established, oh, it is too hard to get them off the ground if you by any chance get them off the ground, because there's so many things depend on them, on their willingness to take action, on their priorities, on how they manage a schedule, and yeah, so many things that I just don't think I'm in the right place right now to coach them through that.
So a lot of you might be wondering, like, how does she find these people? So we'll talk about that. That's a separate round. But it's funny, Krystel, you say this, but yet at Lurn, you coach all the time these very kinds of entrepreneurs, these startups, and you do so well at it. But I do agree with you. So here's the funny thing a lot of people don't know about me. And that is that obviously Lurn, what do? I teach young budding entrepreneurs all day long. That's like 95% of our market at Lurn. And I love it. I love being able to provide that light to everybody. But when it comes to consulting, if I ever take on a gig, I will never, ever take on someone who's just starting as an entrepreneur for the very reasons that Krystel just said. I would rather work with someone who's already established and doing something, because I can come in and have much, much faster results for them. It's not even about the money, because both will pay. It's just about, I don't like, my time. I want to see results from people's work. So really interesting. Krystel, so talk a little bit about, you mentioned coaches and trainers a lot. Is that your sweet spot? Are those the people that you find that are some of the easier ones to go after?
Well, I don't know. I haven't tried beyond that because, to be honest, they're just in my network.
Okay.
I used to connect with them. Before I went to Lurn, I used to do a lot of personal development, go to seminars, me as a student, retreats, many trainings that I went to. And I've connected with all of those trainers in the past. And I have a kind of a really interesting network around me. And I know, and I see them trying to go online and doing this Facebook Lives, and that's it. And I was like, my God, you're wasting so much potential. So it's not that I prefer, it's just that my network is rich in those type of profiles. Just because I've been I invest a lot of myself in my mindset as well, so I can coach people as well, and I can get myself going and expand and grow. And that's how I connected with them. Just the same way that I've connected with people at Lurn is by attending, live workshops. That's how I connected with everyone. Yeah.
There's so many out there. I mean, there's a lot. There's no shortage. So what I like is you've picked a niche, right? You've picked, well, first of all, a country, then you picked a niche within that country to bring them a very niche service. Mm-hmm. And there's huge demand for it. I think one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people who start an agency make is that they want to offer everything, right? I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do that, but then the message gets lost. So for a coach or for a consultant or a trainer, what is, like right now, if someone pays you $5,000 or $10,000, I know your rates have gone up and all of that. We'll talk about pricing later, but what does a funnel look like? What's a typical funnel look like when you go to a coach or a trainer and you're going to establish them online?
So I usually like to do launches because I find it to work better, at least here. So it's the type of funnel that you have 3 videos and a webinar, and then it closes for like 2 weeks, depending on the case. Because those are the high ticket offers. This type of coaches don't want to build a $47 offer. That's the other thing. They're not after $20 offers. They're not after any of that. They want to sell $1,500, $5,000. The launch that we did on January, it was for launch of a $5,000 product. So they're not going after the small money. They want, high ticket sales. They don't want to waste their time with bad customers as well, because the higher the price, the better the client. So that is the type of offers that we build. So since that's the case, and it's a little bit more on the high end, I like to build the launch type of funnel. So it's 3 videos launching, one at a time, and then we open card, we do a webinar, and then we close. That's how we do it.
So
and I write the yes.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say. So your clients, are they also? There must be Colombian. Yes,
Colombia.
they live. Yeah, they live
Colombia.
nearby. So when you say they're selling a product for $5,000 or $1,500, are they selling to other Colombians, or they're selling outside to Americans, or who are they selling to?
No, within the Latin America country.
Wow.
Yes. So we have Mexico, Peru, Colombia, Argentina, and Chile.
Man, I gotta learn. I need that accent. Colombia, Chile. All right, I like that. Okay, so, big mind-blown moment again, right? Here we are, like, thinking, only Americans can afford this stuff. I bet you people in Latin America are spending it quicker, faster, easier, because there's probably a lot less competition, and they're just hungrier. That's what it is. They're going through a major economic boom right now. They're just hungrier. They want more opportunity. We're a little bit fat and lazy in some of these other countries now, to be honest with you. So, okay, very cool. Now, I'm just in that funnel conversation. Do you run ads and stuff for them too?
Yeah.
Okay, and are you finding that advertising is on Facebook or wherever else? Is it mostly Facebook? Are you doing mostly Facebook ads in these countries?
I am mostly doing Facebook, but I have committed myself with my last client to run YouTube and Google, so I have to.
Yes.
I get to learn that a little bit further down the line. Yes.
Oh, I can show you YouTube. I love YouTube. I'm all about YouTube right now. YouTube.
But yes, currently I'm doing Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, sorry Facebook, but YouTube is much better. All right. Oh God, now my Facebook ad account's gonna get shut down. Okay, so that is cool. Are you finding that ad costs are much cheaper? That advertising is easier?
Yes, and I have compared it with my own results as well. So I don't know. Well, I don't know pretty much. I know from my own funnel and my own kind of data, kind of how to compare it. So maybe you can get $2 to $5 a lead, right, in America, if you're investing. That's from my experience. I don't know if it's not a norm for everyone, but for me, I got between $2 to $5 a lead. Here, I'm getting it 20 cents, 40 cents a lead. So that's how. Yeah, if you compare the prices, there's like. It's huge.
So when is Lurn scaling into Latin America? I feel like that's coming now. What do you say? I think I might have to sign you I think I might have to become a client. That's crazy. 20 cents a lead. Is that 20 cents for a webinar registration?
No, so it goes all the way to 80 cents to $1 per webinar registration. I can get it to that place. It depends also. The targeting, if I'm doing lookalikes, depends on so many things, but I can get it to 80 cents per webinar registration, yes.
But does the whole funnel and everything have to be in Spanish then? Sorry, this whole conversation has now gone in a different direction, and it's just me doing intel research for Lurn. But hey, that's what the Fighting Entrepreneurs is all about.
In Spanish, yes, of course, because you're selling to people in Latin America, so everyone speaks Spanish. So
Dang it. All right, well, so we have to figure that part out. I need a Spanish version of me. That's pretty awesome. But if you were to do the same thing in English, I'm just curious, what happens? Have you tried that yet? Is it just the market super smaller?
I have not tried to do it on webinar registrations because I have not run a webinar in English. I did simple funnels. But yeah, I can tell you it is a huge difference. Like when I started out, let me tell you kind of this. When I started out in October with a simple funnel for myself, I was testing things out before I did it to my client. So I tested things out and with a simple funnel, and I was able to build a $5,000 subscriber list, investing I think it was less than $100. So it was super fast. I broke even in less than a week. It was super easy. Like I find investment traffic here in Latin America is so easy. Now, when I drive traffic to English-speaking countries, it is so hard for me to break even. It gets too expensive. It's not as fast as well. So that's my experience so far.
That's incredible. We got to bring masters to Colombia. Gotta figure that out. That's so cool. All right. So your funnels are video 1, video 2, video 3, goes to webinar, and then your client gets on the webinar and pitches. Do you help them write the webinar also? Like, are you also doing copywriting?
Yes, I do the copywriting for them, yes.
That makes me proud, super proud. That's so cool. All right, Great. Well, I could probably talk about this forever. So let's just move on to the next round. Let's go to round number 3, and that is building this network. I want you to tell us about how you got these clients. So, so let's move on to round number 3. Okay, so round number 3. Now, you had this unfair advantage, Krystel, and that is you had this network of people already. So I know that some of our listeners are listening and saying, that's great, I'm excited, I want to do this, but I don't know anybody. I hear that all the time. It's so annoying. Anyway, so I know we have a lot of listeners in India. We have a lot of listeners in UAE, a lot in Singapore, Malaysia, Mexico I know is a big market for Lurn. I actually think we've been organically growing in Latin America, actually, because obviously we got a hold of you somehow. Brazil, I've seen a lot of Brazil lately coming up. But they're all in these countries, and I mean, there's huge opportunity in all of these countries. And they're thinking, God, I wish I could just get my first client because that would unveil everything, but I don't know anybody. So walk us through how you built your network, because you said you went to events. Give me a little bit of the story behind, okay, you went to events, but then how do you get to know the speakers? How do you do all, like, walk me through that so someone else right now listening can kind of take your example and say, okay, I know how I could do this in my market, or how I could start building up my network so I can get access to these kinds of speakers and trainers.
Well, it's kind of pretty simple, and I'm not the best at this, Anik. You know that I'm a very introvert type of person. So if anything, I know I'm not the best at building networks and building those relationships. But even with my personality and my not outgoing way of being, I've been able to do this, and it's not that hard. So when I go to events, I'm all in. I'm always present, and I'm always trying to get connections. In terms of, okay, let's connect through Facebook. Let me, give me your phone. What are you doing? Like, just knowing the basic stuff, so I know who's who.
So
in the audience,
are you
not
sorry?
So much the speaker,
okay,
but
yeah.
In the audience.
Just gonna ask you that. Okay, the audience, got it.
The audience. Now, the type of events that I go to, usually I find other trainers within the audience too. Like I find other business owners within the audience, so I get connected to them. A few of my strongest connections in this space has been through a network marketing company that I got involved with about 6 years ago, which I'm not doing right now, but it allowed me to build one of the most stronger type of bonds with these trainers, because all of those in that network were, they were trainers. They were building kind of the network marketing business on the side, but they were doing their own thing, full time. So all of those people are on my network. Now, what has happened is that I've shared posts for my Facebook page. So sometimes I would post a quote on my Facebook page, and I would share it on my personal profile. And people in my personal friends, in my personal circle, somehow got to my Facebook page, got to my website, and they started texting me. Oh, what are you doing? Are you running an online business? Are you still working? Because I've been disconnected. Like I told you, I have not built intentionally relationships, and I have not been nourishing them, which is something that I can definitely improve and learn from John. But when people see what you're doing, see the results, see your knowledge, because the other thing that I've been doing lately is posting videos on YouTube and on Facebook about what I know in online marketing. So I did a video on funnels, on simple funnels. Why is it necessary to have free offers, then higher ticket offers, and how does that work? Just on a sketch. That's what I did, and I share that. And a lot of people get back to me because it is super advanced for most people, and it's like, whoa, I didn't know all of that. And that's how they get back to me. Just what you said at the beginning, Anik. It's just getting all of that knowledge, all of what you have, and sharing it with the people, sharing it with your network, whether it's with social media or whether it's in a conversation. Maybe I go to an event and I see someone again, and I tell them, wow, what are you doing now? And that person shares with me, and they ask me the question, and I say, well, I'm doing online marketing. That's what I'm doing. I'm working with people, and I'm helping them build their online businesses. And they are all of a sudden so interested. because there is no one that they know that knows how to do this. There are so many people that want to know how to build online businesses, but there is no one teaching this in Latin America. Now, there is a huge opportunity, specifically here in Latin America, that I see, is that a lot of people that do have online businesses and are teaching this, they're teaching just a few parts of it. So they're teaching you, how to build your online course, and that's the offer. And a lot of people are those are multi-million companies, and most people will buy those offers. But what happens when you have an online course and you don't know how to market it? What happens when you don't know how to advertise it? What happens when you don't know anything? The online course is the least of your concerns. So that's what I tell people. That's the kind of conversations that I have. What happens if you do build this online course? How do you have a website? Do you know how to build a funnel? Do you know how to market it? How to advertise it? That is where the money is, not in the course. So that is the type of things that I speak about, because I know that's the gap. That's where people are ignorant. That's what people don't understand. And that is where I can bring value. The least of my concerns is the content or the course or whatever. And that's the other reason why I like to work with established business owners, because they already have the content. They already have their training, their courses. They already have all of that figured out. So I don't have to talk about any of that. That's already done. They already know their niche. They already know their avatar. They already know everything about their market. I just need to get that online. So it works faster. The other thing is, for example, my last client, I went to consult him on his business. So he's kind of a spiritual type of trainer. So I went to him. I paid for a consultation with him, because I had some things that I wanted to consult about in my personal life. And on that conversation, at the end, he was very interested in what I was doing. And I told him this: I'm doing online marketing, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what I know. And he said, wow, we need to get together. So why don't we set another appointment, and I talk to you about my business and see if you can help me out. I was like, yeah, sure. So that is I got an appointment with him like 3 days after that consultation that I had with him, and he became a client. It was super easy. Like, I didn't have to pitch him either, because they are desperately looking for someone that can help them out. They don't understand. They have no one to reach out to. Like, if anything, that's why maybe you have organically grown so much on it, is because there's no one here that can guide people into building, online businesses. So someone that comes up and has like basic knowledge is way more than the market knows. So yes, that's how I do it. So even if it's me consulting someone, me going to a webinar and me talking about what I do, or just asking questions, or just saying, oh yes, I saw your website, but why don't you consider doing this? You can do this and that. And they're going to be interested. Like, just be in service of people. That's how I do it. And it's not that easy. It is very easy. It's not that hard.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I took away a few golden nuggets from what you said. One is, go to the events and make it a goal to meet the audiences. I wasn't even thinking that. You're so right. There's going to be trainers and people in the industry in the audience. How many times have I been in an audience of an event? You don't have to meet the speakers. Typically, they're hard to meet. Like, if I'm speaking at an event and someone from the audience comes up to me and says, what's your phone number? What's your email? What's your Facebook? I'm like, whoa, buddy. Okay, I don't want to give my information. But if I'm in the audience and someone sitting next to me leans over and says something like, okay, yeah, sure, we're talking. What an awesome way to do this. If you're watching right now and you're in another country and there's events all the time, you got to get out, right? Even if you are an introvert, just get out, just go sit. You know what? The first 1 or 2 events, don't even say anything. Just go sit, get acclimated to the idea of being in events. Go to a meetup. If you don't want to go to events, go find local meetups, and that's awesome. You can meet, those are smaller groups, 10, 12, 15 people. And then from there, just add them on Facebook, add them into your Instagram or your social media following. And then what I love what Krystel said is, she just starts posting videos on her Facebook, like just of what she knows, like fun little stuff. And I don't know, Krystel, if you remember, you were in that episode with Mike Bontempo. He talked about this, right? And he was like, I just post my results. I just post case studies. And the guy's now over 25 clients. He's just growing more and more every single day because he just posts case studies on his personal Facebook. And it can be as simple as that, but we all complicate. If you're listening, that's all you have to do. This is why I said, Krystel, She's not holding a magic ball in her hand. She just does stuff. She just goes and like, I just do it. And lo and behold, she gets her first clients. And that's the secret sauce. It's just get out there and talk to people. And the coolest thing is once you serve one or two well, it's over. That's it. Because they will bring you more people. They will bring you, their friends will ask, but you got to service them well. That's what you said. Got to be in service. Make sure those clients want to refer you other people. How cool is that? Awesome. Well, I want to keep moving forward. And I want to get into round number 4. And in this round, I just want to let's talk about, like, you've talked a little bit about it already, like Latin America and the environment, the market. We'll connect it to other countries and other places. So round number 4, Krystel, you said it, you gave us some numbers, like 20-cent leads if you're in the local language in Spanish in Latin America. And we've talked about, I know for a fact that even in English, when we go out to other countries like UAE, Singapore, our cost per leads drop by less than half because we're in markets that other marketers are completely ignoring. What else have you seen? Like, what are some of the benefits you think you have of building an agency in Colombia rather than like me trying to build an agency in America? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Oh, there's a lot of things. Well, one of the things, of course, is price. It's easier and faster to advertise here. It's less expensive. That's what I'm trying to say. But if I was to compare me with you, you would have to have someone in Latin America doing the pitch, or
oh, of course, yeah. Well, so not me and you. We
engage better with Latin American people. We have this way of saying things, and
no, I meant more like. So I didn't mean literally me versus you. I'm just talking about like someone trying to build in America versus someone trying to build in another country, like a Latin American country. What are some of the advantages you have by being not in one of the top 5 markets?
Like if I was to offer my services in America as opposed to in Latin America, if I was to compare myself, there's a lot of things that are different. So yes, advertising costs are like super low. Also, there's because of that, and it's because we don't have enough, much competition. Meaning, here in Latin America, we don't see as many ads as you guys see in America. So when we're scrolling through Facebook, we don't have that many ads in our newsfeed. So our click-through rates are pretty awesome. Like my click-through rates on ads are between 4 to 5% standard. Wow. I do not get below that. As opposed to me advertising in America, it's about 2%. I could get it to 3, but it's really hard for me. So my click-through rates are higher. Obviously, my advertising, my cost per click are lower. And my opt-in rates are also high. I can get 50, 60% opt-in rate, no problem. I like with cold traffic. Doing that in America, it's way difficult. It's more difficult. People are way too used to seeing opt-in pages and they're kind of blinded, I would say, or exhausted. I don't know what the explanation might be, but the numbers are different. So my opt-in rates are between 50 to 60%. I do not aim ever to be below 50% because I know I can get there. So one of my clients last year with a really crappy, like not awesome opt-in page, which I didn't build, got a 40% opt-in rate. And it was like super bad, spammy, red text, like no copy, and he still got 40% conversion rate. So this market, it's a little bit easier in terms of conversions. They are easy to click through. They are more interested. They easily stay, to the end of the webinar. Those are the things that are, I would say, are different and represent advantages. Now, there are some other disadvantages. Not everything is paradise here. So there are a few disadvantages, which I can talk about now.
Yep, yeah? Please, yeah. What are they? Yeah.
So if I would go to the mass market, because I'm doing an online course and I'm offering to the masses, there are a lot of people here in South America that still don't have a bank account and do not have credit card. So it is, a portion of that market. Some business owners offer an option to make a local deposit on the back so that they can pay for the course. But if I'm in the online business and marketing world and I'm trying to teach someone to build an online business, I will not open that because they will need eventually a bank account. And if you don't have a bank account, you cannot do an online business. So that automatically, removes part of the audience that are interested but do not have the means of just buying my course. The other thing, we don't have PayPal here. That's not commonly used. So that is kind of out of the question, out of the equation too. There are a lot of restrictions. If I was making money online, let's say I'm bringing money to PayPal or to this merchant account, let's say to Stripe or whatever, it is hard for me to bring that money to Colombia because we have this legislation and conversion rates. So I have to buy pesos and I have to justify where the funds came from so I can bring that money to Colombia. Then I have to pay taxes. And then if I needed by any reason to use that money to, let's say, pay for advertising on Facebook, I would have to do the entire, kind of turnaround again. So the best way to do that, which I do it and my clients do it as well because they experience the same pain, is opening a bank account in the US. I open up a company there, I open a bank account there so I can use a merchant account there. And I can use freely the money to pay for my tools, for my services, for my advertising, and to get payments from clients too. So all of those things related to legislation and banks and conversion rates are complicated. And most people who are just starting an online business, it is very hard for them because rates are hard, and that's another reason why I love working with established business owners. They are willing to do all of that. They're willing to find the solution. They're willing to open a bank account outside the country. They have a disposition to solve the issue.
No, it is amazing. And it's funny you're mentioning all of these things because I know a lot of entrepreneurs in India because being Indian and going there all the time. And you'd be surprised, like over there, it's so common. Even Amazon sells products with something called cash on delivery, COD. And so because a lot of people are still scared of credit cards and putting their information online, so meaning like Amazon will literally send someone with your package, and when he gives you the package, he takes cash and then gives it to you. And it's still a big thing over there. I had a friend.
We also have those type of services here.
Yeah, there you go. It's in a lot of countries. Credit cards are not that common. I had a friend trying to get a business credit card, and oh my gosh, he fought tooth and nail just to get then he eventually had to get a personal card and just run it on the personal, and that's, was totally against the rules, but he was doing it. So, but hey, great entrepreneurs, good entrepreneurs, they do exactly what you said. They find a solution to the problem. And I will say, for sure, Lurn, it's a big, big part of my vision. Maybe end of 2020 or early 2021, we do want to start doing a lot of international expansion. Right now, we're still busy trying to expand into like English-speaking countries so that we don't have these challenges. Like next year is going to be a lot about Canada. Actually, already started, but then into next year. And it's because I want to slowly get into these other markets because the evidence is clear. A lot of companies are going that way. Most people don't even know this, but Udemy couldn't care less about America anymore. As a matter of fact, I don't see any Udemy ads when I'm in America. The minute I land in India, I'm talking about I touch foot on the ground, I see ads on Facebook from Udemy, and they're actually public about it, so I'm not revealing any secret. They say flat out, we're expanding internationally. So lots there. I want to move into round number 5 real quick, and it's a quick one. So round number 5, Krystel, how do you price? Being in an international space, you said it right yourself, like the average income is lower, but again, you're going after business owners who probably make more. But yeah, how do you price? I know you've been through kind of your journey in that. You want to tell us a little bit about like if someone else is saying, you know what, I can build a funnel agency. And then the next question is like, what do I charge for this?
Well, I'm still in the learning process with that, to be honest, because I don't have any reference. So I'm kind of testing it out and see what comes up. So I made a few mistakes in the past of, on how I'm pricing. And I was talking with you maybe about this earlier because I kind of started charging too low. And I kind of became this underpaid employee, not employee, but contractor, building their business. And at the end, awesome results. But I had nothing, I charged nothing out of the results. And I think I'm just kind of detaching myself from exchanging time for money and really starting charging for my results, because the minute that I was able to test my results and what I've been able to do, that's when I understood the value of what I do. So at the beginning, I was charging between 1 to 2,000 a month, and that was it, flat fee and no more. But the problem came to, I have no leverage, I have no revenue in terms of the results that I'm getting, and it's kind of a self-employed type of situation that I really want to get out of, and I stopped doing that. It's too draining, too consuming. I have other things that I want to expand on, so that led me to consider charging a percentage from the results of what I get. Now I'm slowly growing into that, because right now I'm charging 2,000 plus 10% revenue. So anything that comes from revenue in the online strategy, I charge 10% of that, regardless if it's profit or not. But so far I have not received any type of complaint or negotiation or restriction or resistance about that. So I'm pretty sure that I'm charging below what the market is willing to pay. But I'm growing into that. And one of the things that I'm not concerned about is that I am learning. I am getting results. I am going to get referrals out of those clients that had the lucky situation to meet me when I was starting out.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing right now. But definitely, I connected with someone else who has an agency here. It's more kind of an advertising agency. They don't do too much funnels, but they charge 1,500 a month plus 40% revenue. And I was like, okay, awesome.
Whoa, 40?
40% revenue.
Wow.
And people are paying that. And I was like, wow, really? You're getting 40%? Maybe I should try that.
Yeah. So does that client still have to pay for their own ads, or does the agency?
Yeah, they pay for everything. Yes.
That's way too rich for my blood. Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I think you got to up your charges there, Krystel.
Yeah,
way below market. All right. See, I just made you a whole bunch of money on this podcast just by telling you up your rates. I always say with what you charge, there should always be, you've hit the right point when there's a little resistance. If I've ever quoted someone something and they've immediately turned around and said, okay, here, I'm like, dang it, should have charged more.
That's exactly what I got in my last client. I was like, oh, I should have charged more.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, you've got so much more growth to do. I'm sure you'll figure that part out real quick. It's been an absolutely awesome podcast. It's been so fun. We're coming down to our last round here, and this is a unique round for you. Round number 6. Being a mom, being an entrepreneur, traveling to the U.S. 4 or 5, 6 times a year, you must have an interesting schedule. Like, what's a typical day look like? So let's go to round number 6. What is a typical day in the life of Krystel?
Okay, so a typical day, I wake up very early because my kids wake up around 6. So I wake up around 5:30 to start my day. It is very early. I kind of take care of my stuff, and then I take care of the kids. I get them ready for school. They go to school, and in the morning when they are at school, I work. That's my working time. So I have about 5 to 6 hours a day to work. And when they come back, I usually, take care of them and, give them dinner and play with them. And I'm a mom 100%. Sometimes I can squeeze type of meetings, maybe a half an hour, 1 hour, but that's it. I'm really kind of focused on mom mode. Then I take them to bed around 8. And I have about an hour to 2 hours left of work on myself. So I usually use that time to study, to take online courses, or to do work if I need to do something. And that's where kind of I catch up with myself and with work. And that's how my typical schedule looks like. Now, I do travel 4 or 5 times to America. So on that period of time, I usually have someone taking care of my kids, someone from my family take care of my kids while I'm absent. And I kind of work around, the workshops. I kind of work around answering emails, answering questions, but that's about it. I do not do direct work with clients, and I leave someone doing that work for me because I don't have enough time for that. So that's kind of my normal standard schedule. Sometimes I don't have the entire day as well. So when I have things going on at school or my kids are sick, those are days that I take off just to take care of them. So I'm kind of a little bit more restricted if you compare my schedule with someone who does not have kids. I'm a little bit more, I have other priorities as well, and I have to take care of them. And that's how I do it. So I go a little bit slower in that sense, but I enjoy what I do. Being a mom and providing my services as a business owner as well. And that's what I wanted to do. Like when I quit my job 2 years ago, that's exactly what I wanted. And that's where I'm at right now. So I want to continue expanding that, of course.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So proud of you. I mean, imagine you get to send your kids to school and then be there when they come back. And yes. I'm sure they love that. Krystel, it's been such an awesome interview. I want to do another one of these in 6 months or 9 months or a year, whenever you want. And I just want to show your progression because I already know you're going to do some amazing things. Thank you for all you do for Lurn Nation. I just want to say one more time for all the results that our students get. It's just so awesome. So many lives change. And if you guys are wondering, I mean, the students that she's working with now, we're not talking about a few $100 a month. We're talking about students going from nothing to like 40 grand in sales, like in a matter of a few weeks. It's crazy results. She's super good at what she does. Krystel, if someone's listening right now and they're just madly in love with you and they want to get a hold of you, learn from you, work with you, read your posts, how do they get in touch with you?
So you visit KrysRomero.com. So it's KRYS Romero.com. That's how they get in touch with me. That's
KRYS and then ROMERO.com?
Yes, that's the one. KrysRomero.com. That's my website.
All right, there you guys go. I just gave you a direct link to a powerful woman who is doing some tremendous, tremendous things. So excited to see this. Such an honor to have you on our podcast today, Krystel. Thank you so much. All right, if you're watching this, listen, if you're on YouTube right now, you better click subscribe. You better click the little thumbs up thing, and you better leave a comment below for Krystel. Tell her what you thought about this episode and how it inspired you. If you are listening to this on iTunes, then make sure you go over to onicpodcast.com and grab our show notes, and make sure you subscribe to The Fighting Entrepreneur, and make sure you head over to KrysRomero.com. Learn more about Krystel and get in touch with her. This is Anik Singal reminding you, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. Till next time, Fighting Entrepreneurs. I'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.